What's going on, everybody? It is 9 o'clock in Tennessee, East Tennessee. I guess I should say East Tennessee. West Tennessee, it's 8 o'clock. But it is 9 o'clock in East Tennessee, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. You got Matt Zenas wired for Crappie and my pink cup coming at you live. I hope everybody's doing well again. Hope you guys had a great Memorial Day. And I hope everybody had a good weekend, a good week, and I hope everybody got to fish. If this is your first time on the live, welcome. If you don't mind, drop me a hello in the comments. Leave me a comment, say hello. Let me know where you're from. I always like to know where you guys are from and what part of the country we're reaching. Let's see, who's on tonight? Larry Merrick, hello, sir. Blake Hawk, how's it going? Good evening. Brad Nelson from Oklahoma. Go Sooners. Creekwater Crappie Company, hello. Travis, what's going on? James Saunders, hello, sir. Buck Chaser, what's going on? Hey, Buck Chaser, I did talk to Chris. Let's see, Sam Lane from Oak Ridge. Hello, Sam. You fish Melton Hill much? If not, you've got to fish Melton Hill for crappie. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible lake. Lake cabin on Watts Bar. Sam's got a lake cabin on Watts Bar. Everybody's invited. Everybody get in touch with Sam, and we're staying at his cabin. We're going fishing on Watts Bar. I saw that in the comment. He said that, right? Everybody saw that? I'm just saying. I saw it out there. Sean Mitchell, hello. Let's see. You guys are having a good old conversation tonight. Everybody's ready to go. I like that. Trent Smith, hello. Southern Ohio. There's a sleep at the reel. What's going on, buddy? Hello from Texas. Tim White, hello from Seymour. John Bain, hello. Fishing Lake Community, how's it going? Mike Willard, hello. I Don't Computer, welcome back from Missouri, Central Missouri. Bart Green, you're very welcome, sir. I'm glad to host. I enjoy it. I enjoy getting on here and running my mouth. That's for sure. I got a gift. It's called the gift of flapping my mouth. Ron said, wish you'd answer your emails. Did I miss an email from you, Ron? Hang on. Now you got me all flustered now, Ron. I have been horrible this week, guys. Let me tell y'all. Ashley, if you're on here, Ashley's going to come in and say, ain't answering me either. I got back with Ashley today, earlier today, but I have been absolutely horrible about answering my emails this week because I have been super, super busy and have been dealing with some things with the kiddos. So it has been a very, very hectic, very, very busy week. But I'm going to get to you guys. So, Ron, I see you there. I will check your email and I will get back with you. And I apologize. Let's see. Anthony Marshall, hello. Trent Smith says, I wish I was at Watts Bar this week. Yeah, me too. Tyler Key from Clark Range, Tennessee. Hello, Tyler. How's it going, bud? You're welcome, Buck Chaser. A little Watts Bar used to be incredible, Sam said. It sure is incredible. I mean, it still is incredible, Sam. Watts Bar is incredible for sure. Grant Bailey, hello, good evening. Asleep at the reel. He says, Sam, give him the dates. He'll be there, buddy. He'll be there. Crickwater, oh, here we go. Crickwater got a tarp this afternoon. Congratulations. So for those of you that don't live in Tennessee, and for those that do that don't know what a tarp is the Tennessee Angler Rewards Program. And it says if you catch a crappie over, I think it's different. I think white crappie and black crappie are different, but if you catch them over a certain length, and I can't remember the length right now, I think it's 14 inches. If you catch a white crappie over 14 inches, then it's considered a tarp by Tennessee Angler Rewards Program standards. And that's where the synonym tarp comes from. So congratulations, Crickwater, on the fish. I'm assuming that was probably on Chickamauga because I know you fish Chickamauga a lot, and there are some definite giants down there. So congratulations on your tarp, everybody. Tell them congratulations. Let's share in their excitement on that one. So congratulations for sure. Sam said he loves having company. That's as good as an invite right there. Sam, I mean, if he loves having company and he said he had a cabin, that's as good as saying, here's your key. So, you know what I mean? Let's see here. Central Illinois, Phil Pickett, welcome. Michael, thank you. Welcome. And I would pronounce that last name. It's just about as difficult as Zenas. So it's Schoggin. Welcome, Michael. I appreciate that. I'm not going to try because I'll probably butcher it, and people butcher Zenas all the time. So I'm used to it, but I don't know. I'm just going to bow out on that one, buddy. George Hamby from Maryville, welcome. Bart said, keep flapping. Keep flapping my gums. Okay, I will. I promise. Ron, yes, sir, sure did. Thursday through Monday morning. Sam said he's there fishing Thursday through Monday morning. All right. William Pettiford, hello from North Carolina. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tyler Key, Chippo Fishing, just have a minute. Just wanted to say howdy and tight lines. Stay blessed. You too, buddy. Stay blessed. We all need to stay blessed in what's going on today. Eddie Gregg, hello, sir. There's Ashley. Yeah. All you do is much appreciated. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it. Like I said, I just got back. I just got back to trying to get back to people this week. It's been very, very hectic for me, so I apologize. But I will get back to you if you sent me an email or a message or a text message or a phone call. You guys would not believe how much my phone rings now. My wife told me today, she said, you need a separate phone for fishing. She said, you can't tell who's work, who's fishing, and who's family anymore. And I said, well, they're all family. And she said, yeah, I get it. And I said, well, it is. It's true. Hey, we're all family. So, but yeah, it's funny. She told me, she said, you need a phone for fishing. And I said, yeah, probably so. And maybe I'll have one day, and I'll just give everybody my fishing number, and you can call me, talk fishing with me. Let's see. Carrollton, Georgia, Ronnie Harris. Welcome back. I do like Carrollton. You guys know that. We talked about that last week. James Saunders, planning to fish Watts Bar sometime. Seen you pull some of those big ones. Can't wait. There's some giants in Watts Bar. Ain't no doubt about that, guys. Sam Lane, you said Melton Hill was great. In the late 70s, Watts Bar was number one crappie lake in the area. Not as good as it used to be. Well, if Watts Bar ain't as good as it used to be, Sam, I'd be scared to see what it used to be. Because I'm telling you, there's some, 7 fish in our last tournament. Took 1571 to win it with 7 fish. So, that's incredible weights. That's over a 2-pound average. I think that's about 2.25 pound average for 7 fish. So we had 14.5 pounds, me and my partner, and we thought we'd won it. And we came in and got stomped. So if Watts Bar is better than that, or used to be better than that, I'd be scared to see it. But hey, let's talk about news for a minute. I saw today, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but Evinrude is shutting down. Did you guys see that? I'm a Johnson guy. Well, Johnson, Evinrude, BRP, it's all the same. So I got a Johnson Fast Strike for you, for those that have seen my boat and all my videos. I mean, I love my Fast Strike. It's a 95 model or 96 model, 96 model. One or two years blend together. Johnson Fast Strike's 150 horse. And I love it. I love it to death. And they're bulletproof. And I mean, I saw today that Evinrude was shutting down business. No more motors. I couldn't believe it. It floored me. He said, blamed it on coronavirus. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think it's crazy, to be honest with you. But, what do I know? So I guess that leaves Yamaha and Mercury. I guess there's some Suzuki stuff going on out there, but I don't see a whole lot of it anymore. I guess it's just Yamaha and Mercury now. I don't know. But, yeah, Evinrude's shutting the doors. If you hadn't seen it, I'm sure you will at some point. People are posting it all over Facebook. So, anyway, I thought it was interesting. Hate to see it. I hope they continue to produce parts. I think last I read, they were going to continue to produce parts. So, hopefully I'll still be able to get parts for my motor. I don't know. I don't know how long that'll last. Hopefully it lasts for a long time because I'd like to keep mine. It runs good. But who knows? Travis said, I tore up Garmin today. I canted the transducer and went out, and it was worse. I called them while in the water and sent video and basically said, what excuse fix do you have for me now? For those who know and have been following the lives, Travis has been battling his Garmin for a while and weeks, and it is continuing to not produce the images it should produce. Travis, buddy, I told you last week, I'll tell you again, I would demand new equipment. I really would. If you continue to have issues like I saw in your videos, I just demand new equipment. And I would not get off the phone until somebody, I would say, let me talk to your manager. Let me talk to your manager. Let me talk to your manager. Let me talk to your manager until I got somebody that said, yeah, you've been dealing with this long enough. Let's fix it. That's probably the route I would go. Or if you bought it from whatever distributor you bought it from or dealer or whatnot, I'd get them involved too and get them calling Garmin. So that stinks. I hate it for you, buddy. I really do. And I lost my place again. This is an ongoing thing with me. I lose my place in there. You guys are awesome. You all ask so many questions and have so many comments for me. It's hard not to get lost. Anthony Marshall, I just ordered a live scope bundle from Russell Marine, a pole from Fishing Specialties, an amp, 30 amp hour battery. This crappie is getting expensive. Yeah. Anthony, crappie fillets cost $618 a fillet per year. Yeah, you got to reevaluate your yearly cost on crappie fillets. It's getting bad. You're right. It really is. But it's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it. I hope you got the Fishing Specialties discount, by the way. I hope you used the wired discount and got your Fishing Specialties pole 10% off. For those of you that are thinking about getting live scope and getting a Fishing Specialties pole, use the discount code WIRED, WIRED, WIRED for crappie. Wired will get you 10% off at Fishing Specialties. So I hope you got that at least, Anthony. Let's see here. So let's talk a little bit about my last video this past weekend. So I got a chance to get away for a little bit Sunday afternoon, fished Watts Bar. Water temps were 69 when I got, no, I'm sorry, they were 70 when I got there. And they got as high in some places as 72, 73. That is the point where I start looking and saying, okay, well, we need to look at a post-spawn pattern. Okay, once that water temp hits 7, if it starts with 7, I'm looking post-spawn. Again, the way the spawn kind of happens, okay, is your male fish move up first. They'll move up. Then you'll have waves of females that'll move in and lay eggs in bed. The males fertilize eggs, fries hatch, males stay there. Female, once she's done laying, she's gone. Okay. Male stays there. and guards fry leave, male leaves. So the males, the small males, are the first ones to move up, and the last ones to move out. Okay, so once it hits 70, I'm off any kind of spawning pattern. Period. For me, once you see that water temp at 70, I feel like, and in past years, I've been able to find fish shallow in spawning areas, but they're generally small male fish. So I'm off the banks. I'm out of shallow water. I'm back out into that 15 to 25 foot water. I'm looking in creek channels in the first half of the creek and mouths of creeks. I'll even venture out as far as the main river channel, looking at main channel ledges and locating brush on main channel ledges in that 15 to 25 feet of water. Okay. So that's what I did this weekend. I saw the water temperature. It hit 7. Okay. 7.0 when I got there. And I thought, nah, I'm out. I'm done. My favorite way of fishing, back to the deep brush. We'll see you later, guys. Hallelujah, Jesus. Because I'm back to the way I like to fish the most. I just really enjoy, there's something about being able to target those fish in a little deeper water. They're not as skittish. They're not as, you can get right over top of them. You can pitch to them. You can vertical jig. You can do a lot of different things with those deeper fish, and it doesn't affect the bite as much or the fish's nature of if you're right over top of a fish in 3 foot of water, he ain't going to sit underneath the trolling motor. He's going to leave. So anyway, I pulled back out, got back on some really, really nice fish. You guys, for those that saw the video, you saw the fish that I caught. They were very, very good fish, and I was really, really happy to catch them, and it made for a good show. So hope you guys enjoyed that last show, and I know I did. It was a blast. I probably caught, I fished, told my wife I'd be back. I think I got on the water about 4:30. I told my wife I'd be home before dark, and I fished until about 7:30. So 3 hours. I think I caught about 40 or 50 fish, maybe something like that. And it was just a blast. Fish were active. They were biting. It was an afternoon bite for sure. So yeah, it was fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, but yes, get out there, start venturing back out a little deeper, get off those banks if you're 70 degrees or better. Now, I will say this, I fished Tellico. I took my boys fishing on Tellico Saturday morning. So we went out, it was mid-morning, 10, 11 o'clock on Tellico. Water temps were 69 when we put in, 71 when we took out. So the water on Tellico is a little cooler. The fish were still in a very, very weird pattern, and I've never seen it like that on Tellico. Actually, I probably have been fishing Tellico for 11 years, 10 or 11 years for just crappie, solely crappie. And I've never seen the lack of fish on brush like I saw this weekend. I looked at 50 different brush piles and found maybe 12 fish, a dozen fish, maybe. It was incredible how many fish I found suspended in the creek channels. There was fish suspended from the front of the creek to the back of the creek and sitting on nothing. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fish. It was incredible how many I found. So, and I know they were crappie because I caught a few of them out suspended in open water, but I do have a buddy of mine that pulls crankbaits a lot, and he actually has been pulling crankbaits on Tellico and has been catching limits of fish daily because there's so many suspended, and they're not on the bank. They're suspended 15 feet deep in the middle of the creeks, but they will not get on structure. It's the weirdest thing. I'm not sure if the water temperatures just aren't right. This is one of those times where I'm a little stumped by it, but I know they're there. I know they're suspended. I think it's just, I don't know if they're stuck in stage, if they're stuck in spawn or what, but if you're a troller, I would hit Teleco for sure, without a doubt. So, oh man, my fan didn't kick on. I'm gonna get hot. Hang on a second. I gotta have some air moving in here, guys. It's getting hot. All right, so that's the 2 lakes I've been on most recently. That's kind of what I found on each lake, and I hope that helps you guys. If you're fishing in Watts Bar or Tellico, I hope that helps. But like I said, if I was going to fish Tellico, if I went back to Tellico with my boys, I'd be trolling, rather pulling crankbaits or long lining. I'd get in the creek channel, dead center of the creek channel, and I'd run that creek channel from the river to the back of the creek and back. You will catch fish, I assure you. So, let's see. Let's get back to some questions. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you guys, give you a little update on the lakes here. Now, let's see if we got some questions in here. I'm sure we do, because you guys are awesome, and you guys have some of the best questions I've ever had. So, looks like Blake and Sam are pretty close together on Watts Bar. You guys need to have a barbecue. Josh Hurst, good evening. Chippo Fishing wants to know when me and Chris are going to tag team again. Hey, I'm ready anytime. Chris and I talk regularly, so we'll get something set up. Yeah, Chippo says fishing phone. When your wife hands you the ball, run with it. Hey, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm on YouTube, man. My wife told me one day, she said, if you're going to fish every weekend, you may as well video it and people might like watching it. I said, yeah, man, maybe they will. And she said, you ought to try it. So I tried it with my cell phone a couple of times. Actually, I got this little mount, put my cell phone in it and did it and put it on YouTube, and you guys liked it. So a couple weeks later was my birthday, and she bought me a GoPro for my birthday and said, here's your GoPro, go do it. So that's why I'm here. It's because of her. So you're right. When your wife hands you something, guys, run with it. Take off. Don't look back. Just run. Let's see. Asleep said, I love my 200 show. Yeah, I know. They're good motors. I've contemplated repowering my boat, but my wife hadn't handed me that ball yet. I mentioned to it earlier. I said, I'm going to have to put a new motor on my boat. Evinrude's going out of business. And she said, that sounds like an excuse to buy a new motor. And I said, yeah. I said, I might have to switch to a Mercury so I can get parts or something, She said, really? Let me Google that. I said, no, you don't have to Google it because it says on there that they're going to continue making parts. So anyway, one day they'll probably quit. And when they do, I'll have to repower. But, we'll see. Michael says, I hate to hear it. Yeah, I hate to hear it too. I hate that they're going away. Evinrude's have made great motors over the years. They really have. So, Larry Merrick, here's a good one. Oh, Sam, sorry. Larry Merrick, hey, when do we get hats? Yeah, y'all like that? That's the Wired for Crappie swag. If you guys want a hat, I'm going to be selling them. So if you guys want a hat, they're good looking hats. This one's orange. I hope you guys can tell that's orange, but this one's black and orange. I wanted black and orange, so if I hunted, I could hunt out of it too, It's got the blaze orange on it. But if you guys would like a hat, let me know. Shoot me an email. Again, I'm going to put my email in the comments. There you go. there's my email. If you guys want a hat, shoot me an email and I'll get you a hat. I'll let you know pricing and all that. Actually, they're so new, I don't have pricing for them yet, but I wanted to wear it and put it out there and see if you guys were interested. And if you are, then I'll get prices and all that good stuff. I'll get some pre-ordered and then we'll sell them from there. So if y'all want a hat, let me know. So True Design says Merc Pro XS bad to the bone. I want to repower to a 175. And my boat is the max horsepower for my rig is 175, and I'm running a 150 right now. So if I repower, I'll repower to 175. But Mercury doesn't make a Pro XS in the 175 that I can find. They may. I should take that back. They may. I just hadn't found one yet. Thanks, William. Yeah, guys, if you don't care, smash that like button while you're watching. We got 62, 63 people on. Smash that like button for me if you don't care. If you like what we're doing, let me know. Smash that button. Thank you, William. William always reminds everybody. I appreciate you, buddy. Oh, we got a super chat. Who's our super chat from? I saw it pop up. Dr. Mike, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. That will definitely go to help out the channel, and it'll keep me on the lake. So I appreciate that very much, Dr. Mike. Thank you, buddy. All right, if you guys have any questions for me tonight, let's get some questions going. I'd like to answer some questions. Do you guys have any questions? Post-spawn patterns, summer patterns, crankbaits. Is there anything you guys would like to know? Ask me some questions. Let's get some questions going. Brad, yes, sir, I am. I'm there's no such thing as retired Marine Corps, but I'm Marine Corps, buddy. Hoorah. Thank you for noticing, by the way, Brad. Trent Smith says, heck yeah on the hats. Well, these are great hats, man. They really are. I'm going to say it again. They're stitched, too. This is stitched. This is not a press on or print on. This is a actual stitched hat. So, they are they're really good. They're really great. And like I said, orange and black goes with the channel logo. So that's kind of another reason that I decided to go orange and black. So I hope you guys like them. But yeah, shoot me the email and let me know if you're interested in the hat. I'll get you a price. Yeah, charge $50,000 for your hats. You only need to sell one to get a new motor. Hey, if somebody wants to pay $50,000 for that hat, I'll sell the one off my head. I'll even autograph it right here and here and in here and in here. I'll put my name all over this joker. I'll send it to you. $50,000. That'll buy me a bunch of new motors. So yeah, I'll even put a picture in it. I'll draw you a picture in here. I'll put my picture. I'll super glue my picture of me in there and everything. That's a good one. Speaking of new stuff, I was on my way home from the lake and I looked back at my 93 SV sitting on the 12-inch balls out mount on the front of my boat, and it's just sitting there doing this. I was just sitting there shaking like crazy, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is going on? Is it loose? So I stopped, wasn't loose. I thought, what in the world's going on? So I drove down the road some more, daggum thing doing like this. And I thought, man, what's going on with the unit? And I finally figured it out. It was one of my tires had separated, And I mean, the treads looked like this. They looked like a snake. And so I had to take the tires off the boat, and my boat's actually sitting on jack stands right now. I got both the tires off the trailer, and they got putting new shoes on them. So I'm going to put them back on and get them tomorrow. I'm going to put them back on tomorrow and be ready for the weekend. But yeah, it was crazy. I ain't never seen a tire do that before. I mean, I guess all the belts and everything in it, or whatever it is, separated, and there we go. It was causing all kinds of shaking and shimmying in the boat, though. Brad, I see your comment there. I'm sure everything you're doing for him, buddy, helps out. I appreciate that very much. Brad, do you know Chris? Are you and Chris? I think you and Chris are asleep at the reel. I think you and him, if I remember correctly, do some stuff together. But that's great. Let's see. True Design says, I got a Ranger RT 188 with 115 Command Thrust Pro XS. Love the setup. Yeah. I had a Mercury on my bass tracker before I bought my Ranger 690. And when I found that 690, it had that Fast Strike on it. I've got to be honest, I love my Fast Strike. It's a really, really good motor. It loves the fuel as much as I love it, but it's a good motor. Buck Chaser, what's the update on new trolling motor? Well, the update on the new trolling motor is I'm still trying to convince myself that I'm okay with going with that big old nasty transducer on the front of it. No, I've since ventured into everybody was talking about the Garmin and the Lowrance, and I've really started looking, Buck Chaser, at the differences between the Lowrance and the Garmin, and really comparing everything to the old Treks. And I went down to Bass Boat Electronics in Louisville, Tennessee, and I sat down and or not sat down, but I looked at each one of the units because they've got them all down there: the old Treks, the Lowrance Ghost, and the Garmin, Force. And I really felt all the foot pedals, just to get a feel for them, try to get some specs on them, try to get different things. From what I can tell, the way I like to fish, and with the boat that I have, needing the 60-inch shaft like I do, because if you get waves in my boat and you've got anything smaller than a 60-inch shaft, the trolling motor head will come out of the water with wake. So you've got to get a 60-inch shaft. And for that simple reason, I really got to stay with the Ultrex, because I don't have the opportunity to get a 60-inch shaft anywhere else. I mean, I think the Garmin is a 57, and the Lowrance, they don't have anything but the 45 right now. So, but I'm still debating on what I want to do there. I'm going to probably end up in an Ultrex, and I'm probably going to end up with that Humminbird Mega transducer on the front. But hey, that's okay. Yeah, awesome. I saw Sleep's comment to Brad. You two probably should get hooked up at some point, because Chris is doing great things for veterans as well. I appreciate both of you guys for what you do. I assure you. I appreciate you both for reaching out to our vets in need, and doing what you need to do for them. That's kudos to the two of you, for sure. George Hamby says, Yamaha would be my first choice. Yeah, George, I've thought about Yamaha, but there's not a whole lot of people in East Tennessee that I would trust with my motor that can work on them. And that's just because I probably don't know a whole lot of people in the Yamaha world. There's probably some out there. I just don't know them. So I've got a guy up at Tri-County Marine that works on my Johnson, and that sounds so bad. I've got a mechanic that works on my motor up at Tri-County Marine, and he is awesome. His name's Frankie. So if you guys need somebody to work on a Mercury, a Johnson, or an Evinrude, Frankie at Tri-County Marine is your man. He is awesome. And I'll tell you what, I can call Frankie right now and talk to him about one little thing going wrong with my motor, and he'll talk to me for an hour if I need to. If I need to talk to that man for an hour to figure out what is going on, to him, it's 30 seconds and he's got it. To me, it takes an hour to get it through my brain sometimes. So he's a godsend for sure. Frankie is really good. So my ears are popping. I don't know why, but I'm going to pop them. I feel like I'm echoing in my own head. Larry Merrick would like to hear about making brush piles A to Z, size, wood, etc. So Larry, anything that you can get to put in a bucket, okay? I use buckets. I use 5-gallon buckets. Anything you can get to put in there, a tree branch, a 2x4, hardwood is going to last longer in the lake, okay? So if you're building structure, guys, PVC is going to last the longest. Bamboo is going to last probably second to longest. And then hardwood is going to last probably third. It's probably your third best. So PVC, bamboo, hardwood. Now, I will say this. In my experience, bamboo and hardwood hold fish better than PVC. That's just my experience in East Tennessee. Fish in East Tennessee like wood. They like some type of wood. And bamboo gives them, I think, that feel. And I think bamboo, because it has all the small shoots that come off of it for your leaves. The leaves obviously will fall off the bamboo, but the little shoots for the leaves are going to stay there. Okay. Or the small limbs that come off, then you've got the leaves. So anyway, those limbs are going to stay, and that gives the fish something to hide in. I would probably, what I do, Larry, is, and this is not the best way probably, but it's the way I do it, and I know it works because I've caught hundreds and hundreds of fish off my own brush piles. I'd use a 5-gallon bucket. I generally take 4. What I used was I used to get scraps from the pallet yard, and they were hardwood scraps, and they were probably 2x3s more than 2x4s. They were probably 2x3s. I would take 4. I'd lay 2 out this way in the bucket, and I'd lay 2 out this way in the bucket. Okay, so 4 of them equally spaced apart, and I'd lay them out like that, like this, kind of splayed out, 2 like this and 2 like this. And then I'd take 4 stakes and put straight up and down in the center of the bucket. So I'd have 1, 2, and then 3, 4, center of the bucket. So you've got your splayed ones that lay out, and then you've got the ones that stand straight up. Reason I did that is because there's a lot of guys that troll in East Tennessee. A lot of guys pull crankbaits in East Tennessee for crappie. If you get somebody that's trolling with 10 or 12 pound test line, and for those of you who've dropped buckets before knows, when that concrete bucket hits the water with wood in it, it's not as heavy as when you're trying to get it over the edge of the boat. And you can pick them up and down with one hand when they're in the water. So if somebody trolls by that bucket and hangs on one of those stakes and it's up at the top of the stake, 10 or 12 pound test will pull that stake over or pull that bucket over. And when you put them splayed out like that out of the bucket, if they fall over, they're just going to fall so far, and you've still got stakes that are sticking up. Okay. Crappie love vertical structure. They love it. More so than horizontal structure. I catch more fish off vertical structure than anything. So, you got to put something in that bucket to where if it does fall over, Larry, you've still got stuff that's sticking up so that the fish will get on it better. And you've still got, all your steaks that are in the center. If it falls over like this, you've still got ones in the center that are coming at an angle, if you will. They wouldn't be straight up at that point, but they'd be angled, and fish do get on that angled stuff too. So that's the way I build them. Now in the bucket, I'll fill the bucket, the 5-gallon bucket, I'll fill it full of concrete to the top. If it takes 50 pounds, 80 pounds, whatever it takes to fill it up, I fill that bucket to the top. Like I said, when you put that bucket in the lake, Larry, it's going to be a lot lighter than when it's sitting on the front deck of your boat and you're trying to pick it up. The water and the displacement, it's going to cause it to be light. And it's amazing how long it takes a bucket full of wooden stakes to sink to the bottom in 18 feet of water. I mean, you can literally, because I put them down with a rope. So I leave the handle up. I take a rope, I take about 100 foot of rope, and I loop it through the handle, and then I'll let them down with rope. That way, when I get them down to the bottom, I'll pick them up about 2 feet, and I'll let it go. That way, it slams down in the mud. If I'm putting them in hard bottom, it's not any good, or it's not going to benefit any. But it ensures me that I'm setting them down straight, okay? Some people just throw them over the side of the boat and let them sink where they will. I like to let mine down with that rope. That way, when they hit the bottom of the lake, I can pick them up a little bit and try to drop them in the mud a little in the soft bottom if I'm putting it in soft bottom to get it to just kind of, set in place a little bit better. That's the way I do it. And let's talk about while we're there, let's talk about places to put them. 15 to 18 foot of water is going to hold fish year round in East Tennessee. Points, creek channels, creek channel ledges, river channel ledges, and, in some instances, flats that are close to the creek channel. So if you get a bend in the creek channel, if you get like an S or a curve in the creek channel and there's a big flat next to that, if it's in that 15 to 18 foot range, you can set that bucket off that creek channel bend, 10 or 12 yards, and a lot of times it'll hold crappie as well. Try to set it on the inside of the creek channel bend if you can. If there's a flat on the inside of that creek channel bend, that's going to be probably your best area. If you don't have one on the inside and there's one on the outside, you can put it there. It'll hold fish too, but those would be the hot spots that I would try. Please, 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 Larry, don't put them around people's docks. I've had some guys that I know, and I've seen some guys dropping them around people's docks. I saw one guy one day drop one right underneath a diving board off a dock, and I thought, man, I can't believe you just put a brush pile. And it wasn't right underneath it. It was kind of off to the side, but still, it was next to a pole. Dropped one there. Yes, in Tennessee, they don't own the water, but you also don't want to get anybody hurt. So try not to put them in places that people are going to swim. Try not to put them in shallow water where there's going to be boats running wide open because you could tear up a prop. Just be mindful and cognizant of where you're placing those. That's my A to Z on brush piles, Larry. Trent Smith, did the willow blade just stop catching fish the other day? No, it did not, Trent. The willow blade got hung in a brush pile and got broke off. And I picked up a rod that didn't have a willow blade on it. That's how that transpired. The blackened chartreuse, I started out with a blackened chartreuse, crappie magnet, slab curly, and caught several fish on the slab curly, but I noticed that the fish weren't wanting to chase, and I'm pretty sure that that's because they were post-spawn fish, post-spawn females, and they're just tired. They've been moving. They've been moving from spot to spot and creek channel to creek channel, and they just wore out from spawning. So I noticed that they weren't really wanting the curly tail. They weren't really wanting the extra action. So I switched over to that, and I broke off. So I switched over to that stump bug, and It just so happened that it didn't have a wheel or a blade on the head. But good question. And I could have put a blade on the head, Trent. It would have done. I would have caught probably just as many fish, or maybe a few more, because that little bit of extra flash is just something for those fish to key in on. Josh Hurst said, "This time of year I go to night fishing due to heat. What are some other patterns that I should be looking into, and where to look for night fishing? Thanks." Josh, are you in Tennessee? I'll talk about Tennessee. When it gets hot in Tennessee, fish flock to docks. I said that last week. I'll continue to say it because it's the truth. Fish flock to docks. They flock to shade. Fish love shade, and you can find fish on shade in the summer. Check docks anywhere from 8 feet of water out to 25 feet of water. It doesn't matter. It's not as important as how much water is under the dock as the area that it's in. Check close to creek channels. Main river docks are good in the summer. Generally in the summer, I look at those first 8 to 10 docks in the creek. Once you get back further than that, unless there's a creek channel that swings under one or something of that nature, I typically don't go back more than 8 or 10 docks in the creek during the summer. But those main channel docks are very good. Shade under them all the time, bait under them. You got food, structure, and shade. Food, structure, shade, cooler water. That's the 4 things fish are looking for in the summer. So I check docks. Night fishing, flats, structure on flats, anything that's going to hold bait fish. If you find the bait fish, night fishing is all about finding the bait fish. If you find the bait fish, you'll find the crappie at night, because when you put lights out at night, and I'm assuming you're putting lights out when you're night fishing, if you put lights out and no bait comes to them, more than likely fish aren't coming to them. You got to get the bait. So locate the bait, set up on a flat where the bait's at, and you should be right as rain. Scott Bunch, welcome. I see some eyes from Scott Bunch. Good to have you, buddy. I saw a good comment and I just lost it. Where'd it go? Dun, 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 dun. Jan Abbins. Hope I said that right, Jan. Welcome, by the way. At what water temp do crappie go deep, Texas? Chris would probably be a better one to answer that. Asleep at the reel. He is in Texas. I would say, generally speaking, 70 degrees, start looking for crappie out deeper. Crappie are going to start moving back out, especially the big females. Big females are done at 70. They're coming back out. So once those big females start heading back out, they're going deep. So, Jan, I would say at 70 degrees, start heading back out. And I'm sure Asleep has probably seen this comment and probably answered that question, but maybe not. If he hasn't, maybe he will. But yes, I would say at 70 degrees, start looking for deeper fish. Thank you, True Design. I appreciate it. I know Chris does as well. Here's a good question. William Pettiford, do you ever use orange jig heads? If so, what color combo? I do use orange jig heads. I like an orange jig head on a black and chartreuse jig. And then I also like them on some of the Jiffy jigs that are out there, because that's the only color they have them in. Is an orange jig head. Blues. I like an orange jig head on top of a blue jig, like a blue and chartreuse curly tail or a blue and chartreuse stump buck. I like an orange jig head on top of them. Funny you asked that, William, because obviously I like orange, but at High Rock, when we went out on a members trip with East Tennessee Crappie Club and fished High Rock, I used an orange head the entire trip because I was throwing a black and chartreuse stump bug and getting waylaid with an orange head, and my partner was throwing a black and chartreuse stump bug with a white head and was not getting bit. And I'm not a huge believer, for those of you who follow the channel, I'm not a huge believer in color, but I am a huge believer in contrasting the water clarity, contrasting the color of the water. And I think that the orange head, because we were shooting docks, and that jig, you shoot that jig under that dock and then it turns and it falls head first, right? And I'm thinking that that jig falling head first, crappie's looking up, or crappie are sitting there and their eyes are on top of their heads, so they're looking up. So the first thing they were seeing coming down was that orange head. And then when that bait came by them and they saw the rest of that bait, they were hitting it. That's my theory. Whether it was happening that way or not, I caught more fish than him. I made sure he knew I caught more fish than him. And eventually he put an orange head on and started catching fish. So yes, I do use orange jig heads. Everyone knows that I prefer a chartreuse jig head. I just like chartreuse because chartreuse is known scientifically to produce a reaction bite from fish. That's crappie, bass, bluegill, everything. That's why bluegill, when you use a chartreuse jig, that's why bluegill attack it. You can throw in a brush pile and bluegill will hammer that chartreuse, like a little chartreuse tail or something on a jig. They will absolutely eat it off because fish are known. It's known that chartreuse causes a reaction in fish to strike. It's just, they see it, they react. And that's why I like chartreuse as much as I do. But yes, I do like orange as well. Let's see. Sam Lane, I think I missed a question. Sorry, Sam. I asked earlier, I could not catch them on a jig. They hit minnows. Is there a time when you have to use minnows? Sometimes there is, Sam. Yes. Sometimes I will go to a minnow when it's very hot in the summer. A lot of times when it's extremely hot and those water temps creep up around 80, fish will get lethargic. They don't want to chase a bait. They don't want to, move a whole lot. And putting a minnow right in front of them entices them to bite. So I would say another time to use it is if you're on fish that are just not hungry, they're just off. A lot of times a minnow will get a bite because it's natural forage. It's live bait. I mean, they see a minnow swimming around and they can't help themselves. So, where a lot of times an angler has to make a bait look real, the minnow is real. So, fish that are stubborn, lethargic, then a minnow would be my bait of choice. But there again, if I'm on fish that won't bite a jig, I move and go find fish that'll bite a jig. I'm looking for those active fish, Sam, and I'll keep moving until I find active fish. Michael says, Fish Lake, Texoma, can't find any structure other than boat docks, but can't find fish on them, but can't find any brush on this lake. Would you recommend trolling crankbaits to find them? Absolutely. If you've got good water to troll crankbaits in, I would most certainly recommend trolling to find fish. If you can't find brush, if there's not a whole lot of brush in the lake, I would think if there's docks, they would be on docks because docks are structure. But if you can't find them on docks and fish seem to be suspended, then absolutely. Get you some crankbaits, get you some 2-ounce inline weights, and put the 2-ounce inline weight 30 to 36 inches in front of the crankbait, drop them down below the boat, off the back or front, however you want to do it, and troll them bad boys. I'd follow your creek channels, follow your river ledges, and you should find fish somewhere in the lake. They'll sit in creek channels and on ledges, most of the summer. Flats in the mornings that are adjacent to the creek channels, because they're going to move up at night. Like I was saying earlier, to night fish, they're going to look for the bait on flats. They're going to pull up out of the creek. They're going to look for bait on flats. And then as the morning goes on, they're going to start making their way back to those creek channels. So you can intersect them. As they're moving off the flat back to the creek channel, you can catch those fish trolling. And that's a great way to cover a lot of water, find fish, and also find structure. So if you're making pass after pass after pass after pass in a creek, eventually you're going to run over some kind of structure. And when you run over it, you can mark it. So it's a great way to fish and locate structure at the same time. Let's see. Phil Pickett says, Matt, we've had a ton of rain. The lake is like chocolate milk. The water temp is 65 to 69 and can't seem to find the crappie. Any suggestions? Phil, what lake are you on? Drop me another comment what lake you're on, Phil, and I'll come back to that question, okay? Tyler Key, have you fished any of Dale Hollow before? I have not fished Dale Hollow, but I want to. Dale Hollow sets up just like some of our lakes over here. I mean, it's almost identical to some of our lakes over here. I would say it's very, very, very close to Watts Bar, Tyler. And I know on Watts Bar, it is all about the brush piles. You have to locate structure on Watts Bar to consistently catch fish, and Dale Hollow sets up a lot like it. So I have not personally been over there yet, but I will be for sure. Asleep, you got to mention that, didn't you? I'm not putting that comment up there. He said he started laughing at the same time I did when I was talking about my motor. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Larry Merritt, where to get bamboo? Try to find somebody, Larry. It's hard sometimes to find bamboo. And I say that because people that generally plant bamboo plant it for a reason. The good thing about bamboo, Larry, is it will take over a yard. Take it over. So if you see somebody that's got bamboo in their yard and it looks like it's taking over their yard, you can always stop in and ask them if they'd be willing to let you have some. It doesn't grow, to my knowledge, it doesn't grow natural in Tennessee. So you really have to find some that's been planted somewhere and then get permission to cut it. Now, I will tell you this, cutting it is a bear. Get you a Sawzall and a good blade because it is a bear. And I'd use a metal blade with fine teeth to cut bamboo because it is a challenge to cut it. If you have a Sawzall and a metal blade, you'd be okay, but take you a couple batteries because it's going to eat them up. I mean, it's a bear to cut. Most people who drop bamboo grow it themselves. They grow it at their house and cut it, put it in buckets and drop it. But yeah, your best bet's just to try to find somebody that'll let you cut some, Larry, or plant it yourself. Crickwater says you can pick up broken bags of concrete at Lowe's or Home Depot, usually for 75 cents or $1. That's good. That's a good tip. Thank you, Crickwater. I appreciate that. I did not know that. I always go pay the $2-3 for the bag or whatever it is for the bags. But um, when I do them, I generally do 12 or 14. It's I don't do a whole lot at one time. So I think PVC works better with time after algae has formed on it and becomes more natural. That is exactly right. You have to get growth on your well, not on wood, you don't. On wood, I've dropped wood and caught fish off of it 2 days later, and I know for a fact that it hasn't had time to grow algae. So the wood that I've dropped, I've literally went back 2 days after and caught good fish and a bunch of fish. I've caught dozens of fish off one drop that I dropped 2 days ago. So or several drops. I've done it multiple times. So wood will hold fish quickly. I will say this: if you're going to do PVC, get you an 80 grit or higher or coarser, 80 grit or coarser sandpaper, and scuff that PVC up. Because if you do not scuff it up, it will not grow algae, and you want it to grow algae. So that's a good point, True Design. You need the algae to grow on PVC. Scuffing it up is your best bet. So scuff that up if you're going to use PVC. Yeah, this is the truth. George says, I have a Mercury myself. Just see so many Yamaha while dock shooting. Figured they had to be very good. With that said, my 97 Mercury 150 FI gets me out and back every time. Repower is so high. It is. Repower is ridiculous, man. Honestly, it floored me when I looked at a 175 Merc 4-stroke. It was like 12 or 14 grand. It floored me. I thought, my gosh, you can go buy boats for that, It's like, so yeah, they are high. But yes, I agree. Yamaha's a good motor, and there's a lot of guys that are running Yamahas. So, and you see a whole heck of a lot of them out on the lake. I kind of understand the Evinrude thing now that you say that, George, because if you think about it, guys, you go to a marina and shoot docks or shoot a marina, you see Yamahas and Mercuries. You don't hardly ever see an Evinrude anymore. The Evinrudes and Johnsons that you see are older models, and you don't really see a whole lot of those new ones. The new ones that look all funky, they look like a spaceship, Yeah, that's a good point, George. You don't really see a whole lot of them in slips anymore. Maybe that has a lot to do with why they're shutting down. Yep, Crickwater says a plastic jug zip tied at the top of the brush will help it stand up also. It will. Yeah, absolutely it will. But there again, Crickwater, if somebody hooks that joker with a jig or hooks that joker with a crankbait with 10 or 12 pound test, it's coming over. And that bottle will still stand up, but it'll stand up with the laid over brush pile. So being able to have something that stands out outside that bucket to where if it does fall over is very, very beneficial. And I've caught some big fish off stuff that I know that I put out that has fallen over. And I don't know if it fell over from current or from somebody hooking it, but it's fallen over. So, but yes, putting a jug, a plastic milk jug, or a well, I wouldn't use a milk jug. Top would come off it, but a 2-liter bottle or something of that nature helps. So. Sleep said he uses a gallon milk jug, so maybe I'm thinking of the milk jug that has a little push cap on it. But I guess if it had a twist cap, you could use it. It wouldn't come off. Let's see. Where are we at? This thing jumps on me, guys. I think I'm way behind is what I think I am. Sam says too much brush on Watts Bar. I'd probably agree. There's a lot of brush on Watts Bar, a lot. And too much can be a bad thing. It spreads fish out. So you get one here, two there, three here, four there. Be careful. If you guys have a special, favorite creek, not a special creek, but if you guys have a favorite creek, do yourself a favor. Don't load it up with brush. I mean, get you in a big creek, get you 15 or 20 spots in a very large creek, and then move to another creek and put you, 10 or 12 spots. Don't overload it with brush because it'll spread your fish out. Tim Thorne's one of my favorite questions. What is a good size crappie to keep for eating? Do you let the bigger females go? Tim, did you comment on my video earlier? I may have seen that. I think I did see that. Just hadn't had time to go back and answer you, but if that was you, I'm going to answer you right now. Good size crappie to keep for eating. Me personally, and I say this is one of my favorite questions because I love eating crappie. I'll just tell you guys, I absolutely love eating crappie, and I only cook them one way. And I probably should learn to cook them other ways, and I probably will as time goes on and we do videos and everybody tells me to eat this, try it like this, blah, blah. So I probably will try other ways, but I use Jiffy cornbread mix, Jiffy corn muffin mix, cup of Jiffy, half cup flour, Tony Chattries, season all, lemon pepper, a milk bath, dip them in milk bath, bread them, pan fry. Love it. I'll eat as many fish as I can put in my belly. My favorite size fish to keep is that cookie cutter 10-incher, by far. That's why when you guys see me catching fish on Watts Bar, I very rarely ever keep fish from Watts Bar. Very rarely ever keep them. I like a cookie cutter 10-inch fish. Reason being is I like my crappie crispy. I like them done crispy. I like to crunch into that breading, and oh man, I'm getting hungry right now thinking about it, guys. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna be frying at 11 o'clock at night. It's gonna be bad news, but that is my favorite by far size of crappie to eat. Is a good clean cut 10-incher, and that's why I fish Tellico the most, because Tellico is full of just cookie cutter 10 to 10.5-inch fish. It is slum full of them. I love it. That's food. That's table fare. So that is my opinion. If you let the bigger females go, give them a chance to spawn. Those bigger females are going to produce more eggs. You're going to get a better spawn, more fry. More fry means more will probably make it to maturity. That's my opinion. So see the roe, let them go. Right, guys? And if you guys are out there fishing during the spawn and you see those big females, those big 13, 14, 15, 16-inch females, I understand that, we fish to eat crappie. I get it. But let a few of them go. Let a few of them go. Think, conservation too. And let a few of them big females go. And yeah, you're right. Some guy may come behind you 2 days later and catch her and eat her. That may happen. But she may get a chance to spawn out in those 2 days too. So, Sam says he always throws them back. Where are we going? Ronnie Harris. Oh boy, you asked a good one, Ronnie. Do you ever have people get upset shooting their docks? Well, I'm going to tell on myself. I'm going to tell a story. I don't want you guys to think any different of me, but I'm going to tell a story. So everybody turn the volume up, get real close, get the popcorn, tell the kids to be quiet a little bit, and I'm going to go to it. So I was fishing a tournament, I'm not going to tell you what lake it was on. I was fishing a tournament. It was in East Tennessee. Okay. And I don't want to tell you what lake it's on because there's not many marinas to fish. So, fishing a lake in a tournament, and I was dock shooting a marina. I pulled in, and I'm shooting docks. This lady comes out of her houseboat, which I was not fishing under. I was not fishing under her houseboat. Okay, I was fishing under pontoons. Her houseboat was out on the end of the marina, and I was fishing two, three, and four pontoons from her that had fish under them. And I caught several fish that culled, some that I had in the live well. So I thought, okay, this is great. I'll sit right here and cull a few, and then I'll move on. And she came out and she said, "Excuse me." And I said, "Yes, ma'am. How are you?" I said, "It's a beautiful day. How are you doing today?" And she said, "How much do you pay for that boat?" And I just kind of looked at her and I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm sorry." And she said, "I want to know how much you paid for that boat." And I said, "Well, ma'am, I don't know. Can you explain to me what's going on? Because I'm a little confused. What does it matter how much I pay for my boat?" She says, "Well, I guarantee you that you didn't pay as much as I did for my houseboat." And I said, "Ma'am, you're probably right. This is just a little 18-foot bass tracker. You probably did pay more for your houseboat. I'm sorry. Can I help you? What have I done? Have I done something wrong? I mean, I'm sorry. You seem like you're upset. You don't need to be coming in here fishing and doing all that around my houseboat." And da da da. She's just going off. And I said, "Ma'am," I said, I hear you. I said, "I'm fishing a tournament. I apologize. I didn't mean to upset you or get in your way, or I'm not touching your property, I'm not hurting your property. I'll stay away from your houseboat." And I said, "But ma'am, I need to let you know that it's legal in Tennessee to fish the water under these docks because you don't own the water." And she commences to getting her phone out. She's taking pictures of my TN number on my boat. She says, "I'm going to send this to the owner, and I'm sending it to TWRA, and I'm going to get them out here, and they're going to get you, and blah, blah, blah. I'm calling the sheriff." And I said, "Ma'am, you're more than welcome." I said, "There's my number. My name's Matt Zenas. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you, but there's fish here. I'm fishing a tournament. I'm going to fish." So she gets mad. She gets irate. And I didn't know this, but there were some guys that were fishing the tournament that were sitting a dock down from the marina, and they're watching it the whole time. and I didn't know they were there, but they let me know when we got back to the weigh-in. They're like, "Man, you ticked that lady off, didn't you?" I was like, "I didn't do it. I don't know what you—" And they said, "Yeah, you just made an old lady mad." And I was like, "I didn't do it." So anyway, this is the funny part. So she goes into her houseboat, comes back out of her houseboat. Oh, she told me I was trespassing too. She told me I was trespassing. She goes out into her houseboat, comes out of her houseboat. She comes onto one of the pontoons that I was fishing. She walks out the end of the pontoon, and she's beating the water with a paddle. She had a paddle. She's whack, whack, whack. She's beating the water with this paddle and literally hitting my fishing line of this dock I'm trying to shoot. And I'm going, "Oh man, this lady's crazy. She's lost it. She's lost her mind." And by this time, my self kicked in, and I'm like, "I don't care what this lady does. I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay right here and make my statement. I ain't going nowhere." So she's beating the water with a paddle, and I swear about the fourth beat, I felt thump. And I thought, "Oh, this is good." I set the hook, and I reeled the fish in, and I flipped it in the boat, and I grabbed a hold of it, and I held it out like that, and I said, "Thank you." Oh my God. She come unglued, guys. I mean, unglued. She goes, "I got something for you." And she turns around and walks. And while she was beating the paddle, I said, "Ma'am," I said, "I'm sorry, but is that your boat? Because if that's not your boat, you're trespassing." It was bad, guys. I'm sorry. I did it. I feel horrible about it today. No, I don't. It was funnier than crap. But she just lost it. And I got something for you. And at that point, I thought she was getting a gun. And I thought, well, maybe it's time to mosey on out of here. She goes back in her houseboat. And about that time, I saw her husband, and she never came back out. So I don't know. And I stayed there 5 or 10 more minutes, caught several more fish, culled a few more, and then I left. But got back to the weigh-in, and these two guys come up to me and like, oh, you made her mad. You're a bad person. You're a horrible person. I was like, I didn't do anything. I was just fishing. So to answer that question, I know it's a long, drawn-out story, but you guys know me. I run the flapper. People do get upset. Yes. And the thing to do is, Ronnie, is just be polite. And I was polite to her. I never said anything outside of thank you. Well, that's still polite. That's being polite. I told her thank you. I caught a fish. I said thank you. That's polite. It's being polite. A little sarcastic, but that's being polite. So anyway, yes, people do get mad, but you just have to help them understand that it's legal. They don't own the water, and if it's really that bad, if that would have been a private dock, I would have just left. I would have just been like, you know what, I'm leaving her dock. But it was a marina, and there's boats all the way down, and I thought, I'm not leaving the marina. I mean, I won't fish under her boat, but all these other boats she doesn't own. So anyway, funny story, good question. I appreciate it. I hope you those guys don't think any less of me now, but that was a good one. It really was. Josh Sanders, he says, late to the party, but I'm here. How's everyone? Doing good, Josh. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Travis said, I caught the full out of crappie on Timber Monday using jigs I never used in my life. I used Crick Water made hair jigs. They became my new favorite. Yeah, check out Crick Water Crappie Company, guys. They make some great hair jigs. I've used them and caught fish on them too. And their 32nd ounce jig is a true 32nd ounce jig, which is great because it's hard to find a true 32nd ounce. 30 seconds. A lot of guys, the heads are a little bit larger and they're not really a 32nd. They're closer to a 24th than a 32nd, and they fall a little faster. So Crick Water has a true 32nd ounce head, and I really like it. Sam says he has a dock. He doesn't get upset. Nobody in his cove gets upset. Well, that's good. Thank you, Sam. I'm glad that you guys will let us fish. You guys got stories going in the thread here. I'm trying to find some comments. Sorry. Man, the Wired fam is on it tonight. You guys are on it. You guys have got some really good threads going here. Thank y'all, by the way, again, for everything that y'all do for the channel. I really appreciate it. Channel's growing. There's great things happening. So I'm glad you guys are with me. And like I said, I feel like we are a family. So thank y'all for everything that y'all have done and all the great comments again. Here we go. Have you tried the pool noodles to hold up structure? That is something I'm trying. That probably worked really good, George. And you're probably the reason that I look down there and think, that's a fish, I think. What is that? It looks like, what is that? Top of the brush pile's glowing bright yellow. It's probably George. That's probably one of George's. Probably got a pool noodle at the top of it. Thanks, George. Because those things will hold air because they're porous. So I bet you they'd probably show up like a fish, George. Would they not? Being that they're porous? I bet you, George, I think if I remember correctly, you're up on Loudon. And I've seen some stuff on Loudon that I looked at the top of a brush pile and went, what is that? Maybe one of George's. That's good to know. Thanks, George. That may be pool noodles I'm seeing. Buck Chaser says caught lots of crappie last week on standing timber and 24 foot of water, 73 degrees, northeast Texas. So there you go, Jan. I would say, like I said earlier, I would say at 70 degrees, start heading out. 70 degrees, start looking deeper. True Design said, yep, High Rock is my home lake, and orange and blue is a safe bet 90% of the time. Jimmy Houston has made the statement that any color is good as long as it is chartreuse. Yep, I'm not Jimmy Houston, but I know chartreuse. Jimmy Houston is very well known. He's a good one. I used to watch him when I was a kid. Yep, he's one of the ones that got me started in bass fishing when I started bass fishing. But that was short-lived. That was too much like work. I'm not a lazy guy, but I don't want to work for a living and then work on the water too. So, but yes, blue and chartreuse, orange, blue and chartreuse on High Rock. Yep. I see. I used orange, black, and chartreuse most of the time, but yeah, it's killer. Orange, something about orange and High Rock. And the lake was a little stained when we were over there too. And High Rock stays a little stained for the most part, I think, doesn't it? True Designs. It's a very silty lake. There's a lot of silt in High Rock. So actually the upper end is almost silted in, hadn't it? We went up. We fished mostly lower end to mid lake, and then we went up above mid lake. And the more we went up, the more silt and the more shallow water we found. It was just kind of one of them things where that river, that's a Yadkin River, I think, is that right? Has just silted that lake in quite a bit. Travis said, I always bring a half pound of crappie minnows with me for those few stubborn feeding crappie. Now, there's some that are stubborn. There's some you got to put a live bait in front of them to get them to bite. And, like I said, a lot of times if I can't get them to bite, I'll just go find fish that want to bite. If they won't play, I'll go find fish that'll play. Sean says, been working on shooting docks on the chick like you recommended, been paying off. Thanks again. You're very welcome, Sean. Let me tell you guys something. Sean did not know he was a dock shooter, but I'll tell y'all right now, that man is a dock shooter. I had Sean up here with me. When was it, Sean? The 17th? No. When was it? 16th. Yeah. I had Sean up here with me on the 16th, and I said, have you shot docks before? And he said, no, not really. And I said, well, let's go shoot docks. And I said, I'll teach you how to shoot docks. And he says, okay. And I showed him how to hold the jig, showed him how to shoot docks a couple times. Actually, I shot a dock, shot 2 shots, caught 2 fish, and said, here you go. And he goes, okay. Right up underneath there, and I went, he lied to me. he gets his jig back out. I don't know if he caught one that shot or not, but right back up underneath there, under a pontoon boat, nonetheless. Well, I thought, hey, he's telling me a story. Sean shot some docks before, and I just watched him for a little bit, and I said, let me ask Sean. I said, have you really not shot docks before? No. I said, you could have fooled me. I said, I get people they'll put a hook in their hand, they'll spend more time on top of the boat than under the boat. And Sean was on it, guys. Let me tell you something. Sean is a dock shooter. There ain't no doubt about that. So I'm glad you're catching fish, Sean. You surprised me. You're a heck of a fisherman, and I'm glad you're catching fish. Dr. Mike, what's your favorite crankbaits for crappie? I keep them right here in my desk drawer, Dr. Mike. Let me see. Let me find one that's in the pack. There we go. Ding. Arky Crappie Crank. Walmart carries a lot of these. They carry them in some colors. They don't carry them in all the colors. They carry them in some. But if you go to arky.com, Arky Lures or Arky. Is it Arky Lures or Arky Jigs? I don't know. Type Arky crankbait into Google. ARKIE, Arky crankbait, and you can get their website. This is the 220 size. I prefer the 220 over the 320 or 330. I think it is. It's 330 or 320, but this is the 220. I prefer the 220. It's a little smaller, as you can see. They have them in 60 or 70 different colors. I mean, they've got colors just as wide as the rainbow is, and they make a great crankbait. It's got a good rattle in it, as you can hear. And they come with great hooks too. That's one thing I can't stand about Bandits is I wish they would put a better hook on them. So, and the Arkies are like 250, 225, 250, something like that for a crankbait, which is very. I think the large Arkies are like 350, and the small ones are 2.25. So you don't break the bank. You can stand to lose some crankbaits, and they've got them in great colors. So check them out. Arky crankbaits. That's what I prefer to pull. I also pull, just to know, I do pull Bandits sometimes. I do pull flicker shads. I'll pull shad wraps. Crappie like shad wraps, guys. They're expensive, but they like shad wraps. I'll pull, what else will I pull? I've got some other stuff. The Strike Kings, the Mr. Crappies. I pull just about everything, but the Arky is my go-to. Robert, are you still using the 11-foot pole? Yeah, I am. Some here and there. I'm still playing with it. Robert, I just I don't know that I like it as much as my 6-footer, and let me tell you why. With that 11-foot rod, you're limited. You're limited to where you can fish because you're fishing with an 11-foot rod. You're fishing with a 1/4 ounce egg sinker and a jig. So you're really targeting fish vertically when you're using an 11-foot pole. So if you can picture, you've got an 11-foot pole, and if you're standing in one or holding your boat in one area, okay, or if your boat, let's say you're spot locked, okay, and you got that 11-foot pole, then you've got this much area that you can cover with that 11-foot pole, right? Because you're spot locked, you're right there. You have to move the boat to fish a different spot, okay? That's outside the 11 feet. I can take a 6-foot dock shooter or whatever you like to fish with. I can take a 6 or 7-foot rod. I can cast 30 feet this way. I can cast 30 feet this way. I can cast 35, 40 feet this way. I can cast, and I can fish. I can leave my boat in one position, and I can fish however far I want to fish with a 32nd or 16th ounce jig, and I can move my live scope pole around. I don't have to move my boat as much with a shorter. You okay, Rusty? My dog's over there hacking. But I don't have to move my boat as much with a shorter rod making pitches and casts than I do that 11-foot pole. Does that make sense? So for that purpose alone, and I can stay further away from the fish and not spook fish as easy casting to them than I can vertical jigging over top of them. So for those benefits alone, I prefer that 6-footer to be able to pitch and cast to those fish. That's my preference. Will I still use the 11-foot pole and still do some shows with it? Yes, because it's a fun way to fish. I enjoy fishing with it. It's just not as versatile, especially right now with as many wake boats and wave runners and jet ski, or wave runners and jet ski, wake boats and pleasure boats and jet skis that are out there. A lot of times trying to hold that boat in one position is tough. And a lot of you guys that fish vertical timber or standing timber, you've got a focal point of that tree. So you can look at your live scope, put your bait down, look at the tree, look at the live scope, look at your bait down, tree, bait, tree, or live scope, tree, however you're doing it. Or just if you don't have live scope, your bait, tree, you have that vocal or that focal point of, okay, I'm 5 feet. Okay, I'm 5 feet. Oh crap, I'm 7 feet. Okay, now I'm 5 feet. Now I'm 5 feet. In East Tennessee, we don't have that vertical structure that comes out of the lake, and you're out in open water. And a lot of times, if you put a buoy out, which I do buoy my brush piles, that's the only thing you have is that small buoy. So it makes all that difficult with the boat and the trolling motor. Pitching for me is a lot easier. I hope that makes sense. And I hope that explains why I prefer that smaller rod and being able to cast to brush. But very good question. Thank you. And I will use the 11 footer some more because I know you guys like seeing that way of fishing. And there's a lot of guys out there in the country that are fishing that way right now. So, Rusty, what are you doing? Are you chasing a bug? Dog's chasing bugs around. Hey, buddy. Get down. I'm on live, man. Don't you know? You want to tell everybody hello? Come on. Get up here. Come on. Get up here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come say hello. Come on. Get up here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come here. Nope. All right. He ain't coming. Go on. Go lay down. I was gonna show you guys my dog, but he don't love me no more. I think I saw another super chat. Hang on. I think I missed one. Sam, thank you for the super chat, Sam. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, sir. Guys, I'm way behind on comments. I know that, and I'm gonna try to get to all of them. Lake Springfield in Illinois, 10 days ago, the crappie were on the bank and on brush in 10 feet of water. 60% of the lake is 6 feet or less. The rest has 10 feet to 20 feet of water. Yeah, I mean, Phil, that's a good point. Depending on what the average depth in your lake is, depends on where those fish are going to hang out spring, summer, and fall. So, let's see. Oh, my dog must be mad at me. He just climbed in his kennel. He's acting funny. Maybe he doesn't like being on camera. George has another question. Let's see. Matt, this is a noob question. What is the difference in spider rigging and what I've heard people call pushing? By the way, I have tons of bamboo we planted 30 plus years ago. Wow, 30 plus years ago. Still hanging in there, still fishable and holding fish. 30-year bamboo still holding fish. I believe it. Bamboo's pretty resilient. What was the first question? Where did we go? All right. Difference in spider rigging, what I've heard people call pushing. So, George, to answer your question, spider rigging is done with a little bit lighter weight and a little slower speed. Pushing, it's more like trolling, except for you're doing it out the front of the boat. You're going to use large weights, and you're going to push those baits faster than you would have spider rigging. Spider rigging normally happens 0.3 to 0.7 mile an hour. Pushing generally starts at 0.7 to 1.2, 1.3. I've seen guys pushing crankbaits at 2 mile an hour, depending on how deep you're fishing. So pushing generally is done at a quicker speed, and that's the difference. It's the same setup except for a larger weight and faster speed. Robert, very good question. How tall do you make your brush piles? So, Robert, that, like I said, that's a very, very good question, and I think I've answered this one once before on another live show. But that's a very, very good question, and to answer it, I like to make my brush piles. Again, I prefer to drop them in that 15 to 18 foot range, and I like to make them 6 to 8 foot tall. And let me explain a little bit of why. Is because I try to keep 8 to 10 feet of water from the surface to the top of my brush pile. I really like to keep 10, but if I get into that 9 or 8 foot range, I'm okay with it. And the reason I like to keep that, fish are going to get deeper. Um, they will get down there in the brush. Okay. They do not have a problem. Crappie do not have a problem in getting in 12, 14, 16 foot of water and sitting there on brush. It's not a problem in East Tennessee for sure. And I like to have that 10 foot of dead space because crappie like to suspend over structure. Allowing them that space to suspend will allow that brush pile to be more productive and hold more fish more often than not because they can suspend over it, they can get down in it, bait will get down in it, and bait will suspend over it. Bait suspends as well, and they can suspend out in open water, or if there's predatory fish in the area, they can always pull down into the brush. So knowing that crappie like to suspend, I like to have that dead space of water over my brush piles. I feel like I get better results. Larry says he's in Dayton's, and you guys know anybody? Dayton, Tennessee. You guys know anybody that wants to get rid of their bamboo? BRP has turned more of their resources to the side-by-side motorcycle market. Yeah, that's true. True Design, they have, and I think and they purchased a couple of other boat manufacturers too. So they're looking at building boats now, and they've actually signed Mercury to power their boats. So go figure. Instead of powering them themselves, I guess it was probably cheaper to have Mercury power them. I don't know. But they signed a contract with Mercury. Mercury's going to power BRP's boat lines now. Illumicraft is one of them. So BRP owns Illumicraft now. Asleep said I have the push cap on the gallon milk jug. I just need it to stand for a little while and get silted in. No, that's true. So, if you have the push on milk cap, Asleep says he uses them. And golly, I went to put my arm down and my armrest was gone. I about fell on the floor, guys. I swear, this is actually new drink in the pink cup tonight. This is A&W root beer. For those of you that have an A&W drive-in, they have the best root beer known to man. I think it was blessed when it was designed. So anyway, I always buy a gallon when we go there, and I have a gallon in the fridge. A&W root beer. Hoorah. But yeah, you only need that milk jug to stand so long until it gets silted in, and then you're good to go. Addicted to hunting. Hello. I think that's the first comment I saw from you. Hello. Sam asks, what exactly does shooting docks mean? So, Sam, shooting docks is a technique where you hold that jig. Let me get a jig here. This is a jiffy jig. You hold that jig in your fingers like this right here, and you've got your rod in one hand, a jig in the other. You pull that jig back and you load that rod up like this, and you slingshot it. You let go of that jig and you let go of the line roughly at the same time, and it slingshots that jig up underneath a dock or a pontoon boat or, a houseboat with a screaming lady on it. It shoots that jig up underneath it, and crappie get up underneath those structures and shade and use them as cover. So it's a very, very, very productive technique in East Tennessee, Sam. Brad Nelson, how do you tell whether they are male or females? About the only time you can tell that, Brad, is during the spawn. And if she spawned out, a lot of times you can't tell. So they have eggs or they don't. That's about the only way that I know to tell. I don't know that you can tell fish without DNA. I don't know if you can tell male or female. I could be wrong, but I hadn't heard of a way. They rather have eggs or they don't. If you crack them open and they have eggs or you can see the eggs, then you can bet they're female. But I don't know of a way to tell just by looking at them. Trent Smith, hardcore crappie facts with fish biologist Josh Johnston. What's that, Trent? I may have missed something. If I did, I'm sorry. I may have missed another comment on that. Dun, 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 dun. Guys, I'm trying to catch up. I'm sorry. You guys are leaving all kinds of good comments. Thank you again. George said, that story sounds like a Loudon woman I ran into not long ago. Yeah, if it wasn't on Loudon. No, it wasn't. I know I didn't say the lake, but it wasn't on Loudon, George. I just eliminated one East Tennessee lake. There's not many left. Well, there is, but it wasn't Loudon, guys. Asleep said he lost respect for me, I guess because of my story. Thanks, Asleep. I appreciate you, buddy. Way to support, man. Band of brothers, right? Come on now. That's because you're in the Army. That's all right, though. You guys, if there's any Army people out here, I'm sorry. You guys, me and Chris give each other. For those of you that didn't see Chris and I together on the live, we give each other up the road, Army, Marine Corps all the time. Sorry. If you're Army, HUA. Well, if you're Army, you guys already know. Marines, Army, we give each other crap all the time. Matt Scotch. See, I'm not the only one. George had one on Loudon. Matt Scotch said he had a guy on Cedar Creek do the same with a broom. See, I'm not the only one. Let's see. I saw another super chat pop up. Where'd it go? Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's a sticker. It's a super sticker. Where's it at? I got to see it. What is it? What is it? What is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Hang on, guys. I gotta see the sticker. I love seeing these super stickers, man. These things are the coolest thing. One guy had one the other day. It looked just like me. Yep, that's it. That's the one that looks just like me, Matt. I appreciate it. That's a good one, man. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for the super sticker, buddy. Now let's go back to your comment. Let me scroll back up here. Had one on Cedar Creek, do the same with a broom. So we got paddles, brooms. What else are they going to beat the water with? Let me tell you something, Matt. Beating the water with a paddle or a broom does not mean you won't catch fish, because I swear she was beating the water and literally as she was beating the water, I felt thump, and I thought to myself, it went through my mind, and it shouldn't have. It was probably a bad thought of mine, but it went through my mind, Lord, please let me set the hook and that fish still be there. Please, Lord, let it. And I jerked. That fish was there. I jerked that fish out from under her paddle, and I held that joker out there and said, thank you. I didn't say it like that. I said, thank you. And she lost it. Lost it. Oh, it was comical. It was comical. So, anyway, enough about that. Travis wants to know if Chris tried the rubber nibbles with the hole that he sent him. And Chris answered. Trent Huber. What water temperature do the fish transition back to deep water? Currently, we are sitting at mid-60s, low 70s. Trent, at 70 degrees, they're going to start transitioning back to deep water. You're going to have some females that transition earlier than 70 because females are going to run up, they're going to spawn, and they're out. And those females are going to start transitioning back. I mean, during the spawn, guys, there's fish transitioning back to deeper water all the time because they're not all running at the same time. The fish can't all go to the bank at the same time. So you're going to get a wave of fish that goes to the bank, and then those fish are going to move out. There's going to be another wave move in. Those fish are going to move out. There'll be another wave. So there's constantly fish going back to deeper water, okay? But the big females are going to go back, all of them, starting at 70. There will be some late straggler spawners that'll probably spawn late. They may hit that 71, 72. For the most part, 70 degrees, I'm going back deep fishing. Crickwater Crappie says, thank you for this every week, Matt. Got to get up at 4 a.m. See you in the water, everybody. Crickwater, I appreciate it. Have a good one. Sleep well. True Designs. Yep, the Yadkin pours silt in around the clock. High Rock is a stained water lake. During a drought, it will clear up a little, but that is rare most of the time. So I fish High Rock. I love that lake. It is probably the best lake I've ever been on to shoot docks. We caught 200 plus fish a day. It was incredible. So very, very good lake. If you hadn't been to High Rock, you guys have got to try to get to High Rock at some point. Josh says, is the spot lock on old Trex that much better than Tarova? Than the Gen 1 Tarova? Yes. Then the Gen 2 Tarova? No, it's the same technology. So if you've got the new Tarova, it should be the same spot lock. If you got the old Tarova, yes, the old Trex is that much better. I'm trying, guys. I'm working my way down here. Phil, Matt, you asked me what lake when I asked about the chocolate milk water and what are the fish doing. Can't find them. And the lake Springfield in Illinois was the lake. I don't know a whole lot about Springfield in Illinois, Phil, but I'll try to give you a little advice. I don't know, is that lake a reservoir? Is there a dam at the end of it? If there's a dam, not a spillway, a dam, If there's a dam where they're running water and they're generating or sluicing, then I'd get down closer to the dam because that's the end that's going to clean up fastest. If it's not a dam or lake, if it's not a reservoir, and it is a Rusty, go lay down. Sorry. If it's a spillway lake, I'd probably try to, as cleaner water comes in, I'd fish the north end where cleaner water is coming in, because the silt and everything's going to bottleneck at the end of the lake where the spillway is. Fish shallow. Fish shallow. In muddy conditions, fish will go shallower. So if you were catching them, Phil, in 12 feet of water, go 6-8 feet of water. Cut that in half and start there, because when the water gets muddy, the light doesn't penetrate as much, and those fish will move up if they're sitting in one position at one position in the lake at 12 feet. And it muddies up and they're used to sunlight X, they'll go find sunlight X. They'll go find the same temperature, same light conditions, which is going to be shallower because the water doesn't penetrate as much. That's a big thing. It always has been for bass fishermen, is when they run into muddy water, they go shallow, because fish will pull up shallow in muddy water. They need light to be able to find bait, and they've got to, I mean, that's what contrasts bait is sunlight. So they will go shallow. So I'd look shallower, and that, I don't know, that may be why you hadn't been able to find fish. I think your earlier comment said you were on fish and then it muddied up and you couldn't find fish. So that may be why they may went shallower on you. So look there. Go lay down, please. You're making me nervous, man. What's wrong with you? You need to go out? Okay, I'll take you in a minute. Got one that needs to go out. What happened? I saw something about A&W and then I lost it. Where'd it go? Do. Somebody was talking about my root beers. Oh, buck chaser. Don't miss the opportunity to get a root beer float. Wish we still had A&Ws. Well, we still have them, buck chaser, and if I could put one in the mail and send it to you, I'd do it. Their root beer floats are to die for. You're right. So anyway, root beer from A&W and root beer floats are the best. That's for you, buck chaser. Love their root beer, without a doubt. But vanilla ice cream in it makes it just that much better, doesn't it, bud? That's a good one. Addicted to hunting. Can you explain the thermocline effect on deep water crappie? Do they suspend? I have no standing timber to fish. So this is a very, 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 very good question, addicted to hunting. And it is very, 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 very loaded question. And I'm going to try to get through it. I'm going to give you the watered down version of thermocline. Okay. So for those of you that don't know what thermocline is, thermocline sets up in mostly reservoir lakes. I don't see it a whole lot, and I hadn't seen it a whole lot on other impoundments. It's mostly your reservoir lakes, your deeper lakes, will set up with what's called a thermocline. So you've got different layers of water, okay, guys? So as you come down through the layers of water, you get to what they call the thermocline. And a lot of times you can see the thermocline on your imaging, your down imaging and your side imaging. You'll almost get like a ghost line in the water. you'll have a small section of water that almost appears murky. And what that is that's the thermocline. And from there down is basically dead water. It's basically unoxygenated water. And it just sets up almost like an oil and vinegar effect, okay, in reservoirs when they get very warm. Okay, when lakes turn over, they get warm. You get this, what they call the thermocline, and you get this separation of water. Crappie generally will not sit underneath that thermocline, set close to that thermocline, because that's the layer, if you will, and it's generally cooler. Okay, that thermocline is generally cooler, so they'll set right on top of that thermocline. A lot of times you'll see thermocline, they'll sit on top of it. That's why you hear a lot of guys talk about the thermocline and fishing close to the thermocline, because fish will relate to that thermocline and they won't get below it because it's dead water. There's no oxygen, or less oxygen. There's still oxygen, but it's less. So the effect that it has is they will not get below that thermocline. They will relate to that thermocline, and they do suspend over top of that thermocline, and they'll suspend just over top of that thermocline. So if you can see a thermocline on your depth finder, let's say you're pulling crankbaits, okay, and you see that thermocline at 18 feet, I'd set my crankbaits from 15 or from 14 to 16 foot deep, and I'd run them right there, right on top of that. I'd go just a couple feet above that thermocline, because those fish are going to set up right there. Okay. We have thermoclines here. Some lakes that we have in East Tennessee, they set up very prevalent. They set up, you can see them plain as day. Some you got to work for it. You got to work to find that thermocline. Chickamauga is one that doesn't set up a thermocline as much as, say, Tellico does. Tellico will set up a thermocline that jumps off the screen like a gold bracelet, where Chickamauga kind of gets a little, some creeks you'll see it, some you won't, because Chickamauga is a shallower impoundment, so, or reservoir, if you will. So, yeah, that's my watered down short version of thermocline. I could go an hour just on thermocline. So very good question. Very, very important to know what the thermocline is and not fish below it. If you fish below that thermocline, chances are in the summer months, fishing below that thermocline is not going to do you very good. So if you see it, stay above it. William, good night. You're very welcome. Phil, thank you very much for your super chat, Phil. I appreciate that very much. That's going to go right back into the channel. I assure you that, and it's going to keep me on the water doing this for you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that, Phil, very much. That is a blessing to me for sure, and I appreciate you guys for it. Let's see. Sean, you're welcome. Sean said, thank you. I appreciate it. You're very welcome, Sean. New old 40, 50 year angler just moved to Fort Loudon. Martin, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find fish on Fort Loudon. Ish Creek, Gallagher Creek, those are great creeks. Concord area, Turkey Creek, Sinking Creek, those are good areas. A lot of good areas on Loudon, Martin. I challenge people to go up the river too. Go up the river, towards Pellissippi. There's some really good areas up in there too. So very, very good lake. Down around the dam, I don't do a lot of fishing down around the dam on Loudon. Probably should, but probably will at some point. It's just one area that I hadn't been to. It's hard to get to every creek on every lake. I'm working my way there, but there's still some that I hadn't been to. So welcome, Martin, and good luck on Loudon. Josh Sanders, what's your reason to upgrade to Ultrex? Because my Tarova ran me into a concrete walkway and put a dent in my boat, and I'm mad about it still to this day. I think Josh just likes reminding me. No, there's a continuous button on the remote for the Tarova that sticks out the side, and I keep hitting it. And actually, I'm not the only one, because I've had several people on the boat recently that have hit it too, and it's like, hey, you're on the continuous button, And it's like, oh, sorry, man, and it's like, no, it's okay, I do it too, trust me. So the foot pedal, and I have to have a foot pedal the way I fish. I like a foot pedal, so that's the reason I'm going to the Ultrex. Sam wants to know if I always fish slow when fishing for crappie. Not all the time, Sam. A lot of times, especially pulling crankbaits, you're pulling them at 1.2 to 2 mile an hour. So don't always fish slow, but most of the time crappie want that bait moving, but they don't want it, go speed racer. So crappie are lazy fish. That's why I like fishing for them so much. We get along. We understand each other. Bart Green, here's a good question. This is another loaded question. We've been on 2 hours now, guys, and I see 48 people still with us, so I'm going to keep answering questions. And I know some people have to go to bed, and if you do, I apologize, but I'm going to keep answering them. It looks like I'm getting closer to the end, so we'll keep answering until I get to the bottom of you guys, okay? I like to try to get through everything I can while I'm on, so I don't want to leave any of you guys hanging. Anyway, Bart, do you mind explaining your approach to marking brush piles from the console and then finding them on 2D? When do you use a buoy? I am new to fishing and don't have live scope. Thanks. All right, so Bart, let me start out by saying I do not have 2D on my boat. I took 2D off my boat probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'm not looking back. It's down imaging and side imaging for me solely. And but you can do the same 2D or down imaging, it doesn't matter. So to answer your question, if let's start with it. I'm using side imaging. I'm scanning a creek, and I see a brush pile 40 feet to my left. So the first thing I'm going to do on my side imaging is I'm going to scroll over to that brush pile. I'm going to mark it, okay? And the camera's backwards. I know my left from right, but depending on which way you guys are seeing this, I do know my left from right. But so let's say the brush pile's 40 feet off to the side of the boat. I pull my cursor over, okay? I mark it. And then I'll go up probably 60 or 80 feet. All right. I'll spin around, turn the boat around. I'll get lined up on my GPS, and I'll come right back across the top of that brush pile. I'll look at it with my down imaging, and I'll throw a buoy out. Okay. When I toss that buoy out, all right, that's where the brush pile is. I'm marking it. Let me say this. As soon as that brush pile comes across the top of the screen, as soon as I see it, the buoy goes out the boat. I don't wait until that thing gets in the middle of the screen. As soon as I see it come, bam, buoy. Okay? So once you get the buoy in the water, I'll go across it. Let's say it's north and south. I'll go across it north and south. I threw my buoy. I will make another turn. Okay. If I saw 100 fish down there, I don't need to do this. But if I saw 10 fish down there, what I'll do is I'll make another turn, and I'll come across it east and west. When I come across it east and west, I'll make sure my boat goes directly beside that buoy, and I do it with the motor in neutral and turned off. So I'll get enough speed. I'll get an idle speed, 20 or 30 feet from the brush pile, drop the boat in neutral, shut the motor off, and I'll coast right beside that buoy. I'll look at my down imaging and my side imaging, and it's going to tell me Did I miss it with the buoy? Is the buoy 5 feet to the right of it? Is the buoy 10 feet to the left of it? Is the buoy down right in the middle of it? It tells me at that point exactly where the location of that brush pile is in relation to the buoy. That way, when I get up on the deck, put the trolling motor down, turn around, I know exactly where that brush pile is in relation to the buoy. So without live scope, I can pitch that jig out there. If I went back over at east and west and I knew that the buoy was 5 feet to the left of the brush pile, I can pitch that jig 5 feet to the left of that brush pile, and I know the buoy. I know that's where the brush pile is in relation to the buoy. I hope that makes sense. That's the way I did it without live scope. I still do it that way with live scope. I'll go across a brush pile, I'll throw a buoy on it, and I'll spin around and go back over it because I like to look at it from two directions. A lot of times you go over it north and south and look at your down imaging and you won't see anything. You'll come back around and go across the east and west and there's 14 fish down there. It's like, how'd they hide from me the first time? Well, they're there, let's fish. So that's the way I do it. I hope that helps. I'm sure there's probably better ways, but that's the way I do it. And as long as you're in 10 feet plus, it's not going to affect the fish driving over them. Okay. If they're just so spooky that, they run off, then you're probably not even going to be able to get close enough to them with the trolling motor to fish for them. So, but most of the time, fish that are on structure are not skittish because they feel secure. They're on structure. What do fish do when a predator fish comes by? They pull into structure. So if your boat scares them, they're just going to go into the brush. And a lot of times they'll just pop right back out. I think that's sometimes why you go over them north and south and you don't see anything. You go over them east and west 30 seconds later and you see 14 fish. It's because they come out of the brush. That's just a theory, but there again, that's the way I do it. And I hope that helps you, buddy. Larry Merrick, where you at? Larry Merrick, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate you. Larry and I fished together. Larry actually won my first contest when I started my channel, won a fishing trip with me. I took Larry down to Chickamauga and we shot docks. And let me tell you, that's another good angler for you guys. Larry starts fishing tournaments, we're all in trouble. And Larry, I have a packet for you to send you everything for the club. I have you all the club information. I'm going to send that to you tomorrow. So, we're all in trouble when he hits the scene, trust me. Josh, yeah, I could get the new Tarova, but the new Tarova has the same foot pedal and the continuous buttons in the same place. So that would defeat the purpose of getting rid of that continuous button on the foot pedal. They redesigned the foot pedal a little bit and put a spot lock button on the new one, but it's the continuous buttons in the same place. True Designs. Norris has a thermocline. We use it to help locate stripers when deep water trolling. So True Design knows about that thermocline. Got to stay right above it, don't you, buddy? Chris said he's going to bed. Good night, Chris. Asleep at the reel. Josh said, gotcha. I'm trying to make a decision of which one to get. Well, Josh, let me tell you this also with the Tarova. That Tarova, you can spin that head around and it just keeps spinning it 360 degrees, keep spinning it. Let's say you're not paying attention, you get your foot on the foot pedal, it just starts spinning. It'll spin until it breaks something. So I don't run a transducer on my Tarova, so it doesn't bother me as much. All I have is the cables for the Tarova that run to it. But it'll wrap them up, and if you're not careful, you'll wrap them up so tight it'll break something. The Ultrex, it can't rotate past. I mean, it'll go 360 degrees, but there's a point in the Ultrex where it says, "Okay, I'm done." It's cable driven, so it'll only go as far as the cable, and it is also it has an electric motor in it to steer it, but it works the cable system. It pulls the cables, so it'll only go so far, and then it has to come back the other way. It goes so far, and it has to come back the other way. So it can't just sit there and spin the cables up. Go lay down. Go on. Go. Go lay down. Stop whining. Go. He's standing at the door just a whining. I'm a bad doggy daddy right now. Poor baby. Dr. Mike, have a good one. He's turning in. No, I haven't, Buck Chaser. Buck Chaser says, have you tried shimming the continuous switch on your trolling motor's foot pedal so that it cannot engage? No, I hadn't. That's a good idea, though. I could save some money and do that. I could put some shims under it, duct tape them, and then can't hit the button. That's a good idea. I may try that, Buck Chaser. That's actually not a bad idea. I may try that for a little bit, see what happens. You guys are going to mess around, save me some money. Bart said, thank you. Perfect. You're welcome, Bart. Bart said he has a Helix 10 on both the bow and console, side image, down image 2D. Awesome. Yeah, Helix units are good units. They don't fit my eye per se, but they're good units. What graph do you have for your live scope? I have a 93 SV. It's the EcoMat Plus 93 SV. Is the first unit that they had that would run live scope. So that's what I'm running. I love it. I still have fairly young eyes. Hang on, guys. Sorry. And take care of that. Sometimes people, unfortunately, get a little bit crazy. Sorry, guys. All right. What graph do you have for your live scope? I have the 93 SV, and I love it. I've told people ask me what I recommend, the 93, the 1022, 1222, the new Ultras, the 10s to 12s. To me, the money that you give, the extra money you give for the 10 to gain the inch, is a little much to gain the inch for me. If I could get the 12, if I could afford the 12, I'd buy the 12. If I couldn't get the 12, I'd be okay with the 9. I'd be okay to save the money, get the 9. It's a great introductory unit. It's very simple to work. It's touchscreen. It's pretty much all right there in front of you. There's not a whole lot of hidden features and stuff that you have to deal with. There's not twist knobs and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty simple, user friendly. For me, that's what I would go with. But the 10 is a good unit. I would just, if I wasn't going to do the 12, I'd do the 9 for me. And I fished with all 3. So. Martin says, appreciate you, Matt. Fished Kentucky lake tailwaters for decades for crappie and sauger with ultralight rod and 4-pound test. That's just, Josh says, thanks for the info. You're welcome, Josh. Matt's still on it. Shim that motor and get a 12. Yeah, shim that motor and get a 12. That's a good one. That's a good one, Matt. I like that one. That's the highlight of the night right there, buddy. Shim the motor, get the 12. That's pretty good. That's funny. Josh says, appreciate all the info. You're very welcome, Josh. George said, have a good night, Wired fam. Matt, I will be contacting you soon to set up a guide trip. All right. Thank you, George. I appreciate that, buddy. Holler at me. True Design said, I use two 93 SVs, one for map, the other for live scope. I've seen a lot of guys that are using a map unit. Again, I'm a buoy man. I buoy my brush piles, and I don't need a map at that point. I turn around and fish the buoy. So Milton just missed a big sale on that unit. Sorry, Milton. I hate that for you. There'll be another one. I assure you there'll be another one. Sam's going to bed. Good night, Sam. Good night, Brad. I see a lot of good nights. All right, guys. We're going to call it. Let me make sure over here on the live, make sure I hadn't missed somebody real quick. Nope, looks like I'm caught up. All right, so I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate everything again that y'all done for the channel. If you want a hat, holler at me. Wired for Crappie, blaze orange, black, ready to rock. You'll be the sexiest man on the lake, that's for sure. That hat on turns you sexy instantly. But holler at me, and we'll get that hooked up. We'll get you hooked up with the hat. I'll get those on order. And thanks, guys. Thanks again for everything. I appreciate it. Next week, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. Same channel, same place. And bring your questions, comments. I appreciate every one of them. I really, really enjoy answering you guys' questions, and it keeps me sharp too. So keeps me sharp. You guys get me thinking about stuff. I'll stay up another hour and a half tonight just thinking about the stuff that you guys asked and thinking, yeah, I need to go back to trying that. I need to go back to doing this. I need to go back to doing that. So it really helps me out a lot, and I appreciate you guys for keeping me sharp too. Thank y'all, Wired fam. Have a good night. Watch out for the video dropping this weekend. We'll catch some fish again, and see you guys next week. Thanks again. God bless, guys.